So, what if you could map out someone's entire worldview just by looking at their social media? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're diving deep into a full year of posts from one user, at Dutch Kleo, to see if we can find that single core idea that ties everything they say together. So, where do you even begin with something like that? We're going to start with one key question. What did this user spend 2025 roasting online? To really understand what someone is for, you first have to figure out what they're against. And you know what? When you start digging through the posts, a pattern emerges almost immediately. They weren't really going after specific people. No, they were targeting entire systems, big institutions. The first major cluster of targets, it's all about energy and state control. We're talking post after post hitting on nuclear power, what they saw as coercive climate policies, the bureaucratic overreach of the EU, and, of course, surveillance and censorship. You see the theme here, right? It's this deep rejection of systems that concentrate power and step on individual freedom. And they didn't just hint at it. They had a specific word they used over and over again: power grab. They use this term constantly to describe the push for nuclear energy, framing it as a move to create monopolies that force society to depend on a tiny group of experts. But okay, it wasn't just about government and big energy. Their critiques went way deeper, taking aim at some of the most fundamental pillars of our modern society. Here, we see them taking on the healthcare sector, the entire field of psychiatry, compulsory education, and even the Dutch Chamber of Commerce, the KVK. The common thread seems to be this deep frustration with what they view as inefficient, soul-crushing bureaucracy that undermines individual autonomy. And to really hammer home their critique of the healthcare sector, the user frequently brought up this one, really stark number: 17,000. This refers to the alleged number of deaths in the Netherlands each year for medication or medical errors, and they used it to question the whole system's effectiveness. And this really shows you the depth of their skepticism. For psychiatry, they use this incredibly powerful Dutch term, kwakzalverij, which means quackery. That's not just a critique, it's a complete dismissal of the field, basically calling it a threat, built on denial. So after hearing all that roasting, you have to wonder, right? Is this online persona just pure negativity? Is it all about tearing things down? Well, not at all. It turns out there's another equally important side to the story. Let's flip the coin. Because just as important as what they roasted is what they consistently praised and supported. Let's look at the positive themes. Right away, you see this consistent, vocal support for what you might call the ground workers. They frequently praised farmers, builders, and fishermen, seeing them as the essential people who actually contribute to society, but who are often held back by the very systems they were criticizing. And their support wasn't just for professions. It extended to a whole range of tangible solutions and, even the simple, personal joys in life. For example, they were consistently positive about smart ideas like prefab housing. They advocated for tenants' rates and promoted the Dutch Animal Protection Agency. And yes, a recurring theme was a simple love for cats, or poezen. So we have the roasts on one side and all this support on the other. They seem completely unrelated, don't they? But this is where it all comes together. When you connect these two sides, you find a single, powerful philosophy driving everything. It's what's known as the red thread, that unifying principle that runs through every single post, making the entire online persona perfectly coherent once you see it. And here's how it all connects. The roasts consistently target large, top-down, centralized systems. Think centralized energy, state-run healthcare, EU bureaucracy. Meanwhile, the support consistently praises bottom-up, practical, decentralized solutions, the foundational workers, individual equity, practical building. It's two sides of the exact same coin. And this brings us to the main takeaway. The entire online persona of @DutchCleo in 2025 was built on one unifying principle: a deep-seated critique of centralization as the problem and a passionate promotion of decentralization as the solution. Everything they posted fits neatly into this framework. But this persona isn't just about critique. The user often ended their posts with a hopeful, forward-looking feeling, like with this one: let's make it more fun in 2026. It suggests a real desire to move beyond just complaining and to start building something better. Which leaves us with a final, provocative question. After a year of defining problems and praising alternatives, how does this online persona evolve? Will 2026 be the year they start roasting positive alternatives into existence? A fascinating thought to end on.